Hi everybody, Carl here. I wanted to show you what I'm doing on the Philco, and although I know I'm starting to make more progress, but there's a deal with this, as with everything it seems like. If you remember back when I was first starting to work on this, and I tore it all down, and as I tore it down, I made my notes on how everything was, what was connected to what, and I labeled everything. And that was a pretty good idea, especially in theory. What I needed to do though, and I should have took, first of all, I should have took more pictures and made notes with the pictures. You can have some pictures there, but if they don't really tell you what's going on, it's just a picture. It's not really helping you. And if you remember, I did all these drawings and stuff, and that has helped a lot. And you know, these blocks that are potted inside and have the capacitors inside, they're, when you're not used to those blocks, it's kind of confusing. But what you got to kind of think of them as a terminal strip. If you look at them like the same way you would with a terminal strip, except the fact that instead of being a little strip where they come in, they're coming in up the top, and the capacitors, some of the capacitors are inside the block, but they're still just connections, and that really helps. So I still in a way refer to this, but what I've been doing is I went back to basics. And actually I went back and I kind of reviewed some of John's, Joe Earn one, John from Arkansas. I went back and looked at some of his, how he traced back through the wiring doing a schematic. Because the schematic, this 1934-35 schematic, first of all, there were changes. I don't have the revisions. But I figured I really needed to go back and do that, and I'll tell you why. When in the last video or whatever, I mentioned that I went back and I checked, and the heaters all were reading 6.3. Everything was good on that. And then I thought, okay, and because I didn't get any sound, I had all the tubes in. I ran the power up slowly, and as it came up, sometimes all of a sudden you'll start to hear a sound out of it. I wasn't getting any of that. And the amps weren't real high. So I mean, the amps were low. It wasn't like I was getting this. It was like, just sucking, charge here or charge there. It was pretty normal. So okay, there's a deal. And so I started taking readings on the plates, and that it wasn't looking right. And I'm thinking, instead of like chasing a ghost here, I'm going to go back to the basics, and I'm going to make sure all the wiring's right. Because, like I said, I was doing it out of my notebook. This wire, which I had named A or double C, or C3, goes to this point here, which is F. And like I said, it kind of worked, but I thought, just go back to basics and start taking, point here, this is point A, looking at the schematic, it's supposed to go to here, and there should be continuity between those two, and if you do, then that's a good sign, and you can mark that. So that's exactly what I started doing. I'm going to show you here, just give you an example on this. So let me shut this down for a second, and I'll come back and give you a closer look. Okay, so here we are. We're back again with the old schematic that I had pieced together. And if you notice, I've got a lot of the yellow marker on here now. And each one of those is all those were point A to point B. I was doing the same thing that what John had shown us before, where I go to one spot and follow it through all the way. And when I get to where it would end, or where there would definitely be a connection, then I would say, okay. Then I would mark it back on the schematic and go to the next one. And I've been doing that. And so far, everything has pretty much been right on the money. I mean, so far it seems like I did it right. But I'm at a point now where I just, I found this one thing where it's not making sense to me, and it's not really following the schematic. So, and that has to do with the grid on this tube here, which is one of the 77 tubes. And it comes up through this coil, through this, and it's going into our terminal strip here, you know. Like I said, thinking that like a terminal strip kind of helps in your head. You've got a ground here. You got your connections coming in and out, going, and you've got capacitors inside. Now, if you just, you know, remember or refer back to what's in there, then you're okay. And the thing is, in each terminal strip, each block has a number, so I can refer to that, which makes it pretty cool. But that's where I'm at the moment. I want to run this one down here, like I said, on this grid, and I'm going to fill this out here a little bit more, so I know the connections are right and they're where they're supposed to be. And then I'm going to power it up again and start taking more readings. I'll take more voltage readings at the plates and at the grid to make sure that it's got the right bias and everything. But I just wanted to I wanted to give you a brief update on what I'm doing here. So let me spin this around. I'm trying to, and I'm using my tripod as a monopod. You know, and they make monopods where it's just like a stick basically. That's adjustable at the top, and you put your camera on it, and you can move it back and forth. It keeps it steady, but yet you can move it, and you push it in, and you can zoom, and you can pull out. You know, it's like pulling your camera back. And another nice thing, people don't use this or think about this with their tripods. But if you're ever doing outside action and you want to kind of keep it pretty smooth, you know, you can, if you keep your camera on the tripod and hold it down, it balances, and you'd be surprised how smooth a shot you can get. So I just wanted to do a quick update and kind of show you where I'm at now, what I'm doing. My plan of attack has changed slightly, but I think in the long run this is going to work really good. So once I finish up here, like I said, I'll do a power up, and when I do that, I'll put the camera back on, and you can go with me. I actually had more footage of me following this through, and it got erased off of the SD card, and I'm sorry about that. I wanted to kind of show you how I was following through doing that, and I goofed up. So you know, big surprise there. But when we do the power up, then I'm going to take you with me through that. Thanks everybody for sticking with me. You're the best, and I'll see you real soon. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the like. Take care. Bye.